Hi guys, Squirrel here, and this is another World of Tanks video. This time I'm playing with this thing, the Sturmpanzer II, or the Sturmpanzer II. As you can see, it's an SPG. It only has one gun. You can't upgrade this thing. You can only upgrade the track, the engine, and the radio. So in this video, I'm going to show you the SPG in action. It's very different to a normal tank. I'm trying to get to this grill over here. I shall bring you some more videos on the grill, or the grill, I'm not sure how you say that, once I get to it. But for now, we are in a game on Ensk, and straight away I like to look at the tiers I'm up against, the ranks of the tanks. That rhymed. So this is, I'm a 3, and you can see I'm up against some 4s, and I think there's even a 5 at the top there. They've got 4 SPGs on theirs, and we've got 4 SPGs. Now, SPGs are, if you're new to World of Tanks, essentially artillery. Their job is very different to a normal tank. You have light, medium, and heavy tanks. Light tanks are very mobile and maneuverable. They tend to go scouting and spotting things. And also, light tanks are the nemesis of SPGs like this, because they can get across to the other side of the map, and they can skirt around you and flank you and really give you a bad day. An SPG's role is pretty much to stay at the backfield and launch shells into the center of the map. You can see here a tank's been spotted, so I press the shift key, it brings up the overhead view, gives me an aiming reticule which moves closer and closer towards the center point. The more I move the mouse around and the more aggressively I move the mouse around, the more the circle will then start to widen again. I'm waiting for this guy to slow down and stop, but he's not going to do that, so I'm going to aim at the back of the tank. And by the time he was reversed, my shells landed. Now, bearing in mind, I am trying to judge that. That tank was moving, so I've got to take into account roughly how far away he is, which is the hang time of my shell through the air, and roughly how long it's going to take from the point where I fire to the point where it's going to hit the ground. There is a bit of a knack to it, and it does take a while to get used to. There is also a range on these things. They have a maximum range, so I can't shoot all the way across the map. I will have to maneuver a bit closer if I want to shoot into the spawn area, if you like. But you can see some of the problems with maps like this, which is the built-up maps of the houses. You see a lot of the dots are disappearing because the trajectory of my shell can't hit the ground unless there's a dot shown there. So as you can see, it's following the terrain. A lot of these tanks are playing cleverly. They're hiding behind these houses, not just from other tanks, but because they know that there's artillery on the map. This guy, on the other hand, is totally unaware of what's going on. He's too busy firing at one of my allies, and he's about to get a shell on top of his head, and that's a bad day for him. When you're playing a tank and there's artillery on the other team, or SPGs, you do have to be aware of it, and there are ways to defend yourself against it. One is to keep moving, and another one is to get behind buildings, put buildings between yourself and the enemy artillery, because they won't be able to land shells on top of you if you do that. This guy's kind of got caught out, and as you can see, he's having a really bad day. I have quite a long reload time on the SPG, but once it's reloaded, I'm going to put a shell into him. Bang. And that's the entire enemy team wiped out. He was the last one, so that's a victory to my team. Let's take a look at another example. Here's the same map, but I'm going to show you one other use for the artillery, and it's quite an important use. On this particular game mode, we have friendly and enemy spawn, and there's a common objective in the middle, a neutral flag. Now, when enemies are capping the flags, the one way to stop them capping the flag is to hit the tanks in there. If you hit the tanks in there, then any tank that was contributing towards the capping of that flag has his contribution wiped out. So if there's 2 tanks in there and they're capping the flag, if you hit one of them, it will reset his contribution, and that will, of course, bring it down on quite a bit. So there's one tank here at the moment. He's capping, but he's not moving. All I've got to do is hit him. I don't even have to destroy him. I just have to hit him. And if I do that, it will reset his contribution, and that will stop that flag from being capped. That's an important aspect of SPGs, because they can land shells, over the top of buildings and into that flag zone, but it does require your friendlies to spot first. You see that I just give that guy a really bad time. He probably thought he was hiding from those tanks, but he wasn't hiding from my artillery. So that was another game we won. I had quite a good game on that one. Let's have a look at a different map altogether. This is on Highway. Now Highway, as you can see, very different. It's very open. Lots of trees, hardly any buildings. This is perfect artillery zone. You've got to play this very differently to a town-based map. The problem is when you pick your SPG, you don't know what map you're going to end up in. And you don't even know what tiers you're going to find yourself up against. So the first thing I do when I'm spawned in like this is spend this kind of first 30 seconds looking around, trying to figure out what am I up against, what's my best sort of plan for this particular map, where shall I go and stand, you know, or stand or sit, or camp if you want, where shall I go and camp until we start spotting enemies. I'm looking around and I can see that we are fairly low down in the tier ratings. However, we're only up against 4s and I'm a 3, so what that means is, unlike when I'm up against tier 5s, I've got a very good chance of getting a one-shot kill, or even, you know, disabling or causing a really, you know, large amount of damage against the enemy tanks, because they don't have that many hit points at tier 4 compared to tier 5. I've let all my friendlies go and I'm just working out where I'm going to sit. Now, one thing you can do is sit in a bush, and if you stop inside a bush you then get the camouflage of the bush. However, as soon as you fire, everything within a 15-meter radius around you becomes transparent to the enemy. So one of the things you can do is park yourself so that the bushes are around you, but preferably 15 meters away. That way when you fire, they'll still cover you. You'll still get the benefit of their camouflage. So what I've done here is I'm just checking to see what the enemy view looks like, and I reckon even if I fire they won't see me through these trees. Unfortunately, while I'm doing this, 2 enemy light scouts decide to push for a flank, and as I've said before, these guys are my nemesis. Now, situational awareness here. I want you to keep your eye on the 2 enemies, particularly the one I'm not aiming at. Watch what he's doing. I'm aiming for this tank. I'm hoping he's going to stop and I can drop a shell on his head. But look at that guy down the bottom left. He's come around, he's gone through our spawn. He's about to hit the guy next to me. The problem is, if I fire, and I wasn't watching the map properly, as soon as I fire here, which gives that guy a really bad day, unfortunately, look, this guy's now seen me. Because my firing has removed all of my camouflage, and this guy immediately spots me, even behind this shed, which is no longer there for him. I've got to deal with him. He's firing at me. I auto-aim and press fire. That is the one time that auto-aim is actually quite useful. Now, what auto-aim does, it's bound to my Q key. I think that's the default. But what auto-aim does is it aims for the centre of the enemy tank. Very, very useful when you're using an SPG like this, because you're effectively hip-shotting. An auto-aim is pretty good when you're hip-shotting. You'll get one shot and then you've got a 20-second reload, so you need to make it count. Unfortunately, in that scenario, I hit the guy, and of course when I hit him I do quite a lot of damage, so I knocked him out. Otherwise, he would definitely have got behind me and he would definitely have killed me. Here we have a final game. Now this is a very interesting game, which is why I'm going to show it. I'm going to show you the full game on this one. It's not that long. It's only about sort of, what, 10 minutes or something. But it is a bloody interesting game for a number of reasons. First step is I check the enemy out. So what are we up against? We're mostly up against tier 4s with the odd tier 5, so that's good. That means I've got a fighting chance. The map is a mix of open terrain, and along the river there's lots of houses, so there's lots of difficulties. If they get in between those houses, I'm going to have a problem getting my artillery in there. But there are key aspects to this map. There's a north, a south and a middle bridge. They're going to be choke points, obviously. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to head down towards our flag, but I'm not going to go all the way down there. And I'm figuring that some of the faster tanks might start crossing over that middle bridge. However, this is where the situational awareness comes in. The northern bridge is key for me, because although I'm not going to aim in that direction, if we lose friendlies at that northern bridge, I'm going to get flanked and I'm going to get a really bad time. So I've got to keep my eye on that northern bridge. At the same time, I reckon I can cover artillery on the middle bridge and possibly even the south bridge. Straight away, in comes an enemy tank. He's a light tank, he's a scout. I've got a front cover because I've got 2 friendlies in front of me. I'm hoping this guy's going to stop. If he does, he's an idiot. Think he just had his track knocked off. And boom. I've killed him straight away. So that's a quick kill. He shouldn't have done that. He should have played a scout. He should never have gone into the flag. I'm hoping this guy's going to sit still a bit longer. Oh! And that's a shed load of damage. I didn't quite kill him, but I frightened the hell out of him. And he's gone. So that's good. Now, again, let's check the map. In front of me, I've got 3 friendlies all moving down towards that middle bridge, so that's good. I'm covered at the front. On the northern bridge, I'm still covered. I've got 2 friendlies on the other side of the river. I can carry on and try and knock out some of these tanks coming over this middle bridge. Meanwhile, the friendlies on the bottom right of the map there, they've made a push towards, they're kind of pushing in slowly towards that southern bridge. Not quickly enough, but they're just camped up in the hills hoping to get some easy kills coming over the river. But really, it'd be good if they push that southern bridge right now. Now there you go, that's a classic example. This guy's hidden behind a building, and I can't hit him. As I move around, the circle's not landing on him, but he makes a mistake. He moves too far away, and I land an artillery shell. Now, if he was playing smart, he would have looked at my team, realised there's 3 artillery on my team, and stayed behind that building. That's a great shot. Unfortunately, he's got pretty good armour and quite a few hit points. So I didn't manage to make a kill. Seriously, I don't know why he's sat still right now. But he paid the price for it. At this point, I'm not watching what I'm doing. Look at that map. Look at my northern flank. It's not looking good. There's 1 friendly left. I got tunnel vision. I mean, sure enough, I'm getting the kills. I'm doing the damage. I'm keeping the frontal position at the middle bridge clear. But our northern position is not looking quite good. So, I'm going to move a bit further down towards the middle bridge. This is a mistake. Why is it a mistake? Because I've got nobody in front of me. If anybody comes over this middle bridge, I have nothing to protect me. At this point, what I should have done is turned around and headed back east or right of the map. But instead, I'm trying to get some easy kills. As you can see, my artillery can reach all the way down to that southern bridge. But what I don't realise is the trouble is coming in the form of the middle bridge. I have no protection, and this is the weak point of an SPG. You must always make sure that you've got people around you to help you. Which is one thing actually your friendlies quite often don't do, is protect the SPGs and actually help you. Some do, and it's nice when they do. But this guy, he's in a fast tank, he's crossed the bridge, he's coming straight at me. Now I have a problem. I'm going to have to do what I did in the last clip I showed you. I'm going to have to back up, auto aim and fire. I'll get 1 shot at this. If I miss, he's going to come around the back of me. And I missed. Now I'm in trouble. He's flanked me. I can't turn around very quickly at all. I can't turn my gun around. I'm done for. As I said, these light tanks are the nemesis of the SPG. And once they get around the back of you, you're totally screwed. I had 1 shot and I missed. So I'm out the game. But an interesting game is developing. I'm really keen to learn who is going to win this game, because it's very evenly matched. Now this is a KV-1. A KV-1 is a very, very good tank. One of the best in its tier, in fact. Good armour, good hit points, hits hard. He's crossing the bridge with a Type T-34. The T-34 has 5 hit points. Why is the T-34 in front? Why don't you just wait for the KV-1? The best the T-34 can do is offer secondary fire onto an enemy tank, but let the KV-1 go up in front. Here you can see this guy and his priest. He's screwed for the same reasons I got screwed. The enemy's got around the back of him, it's ramming him. He tries to turn, but he turns so slowly. Enemy reloads. Good night. Once you're in that position, there is no coming back from that. If a friendly can't help you, you're dead. So that enemy has flanked over that northern bridge. He's come across the north now. He's now working his way south. He's trying to find all of the SPGs. And why not? I'm not entirely sure what this guy is doing here. He's just seen his friendly get wiped out nearby. And he's perched on a hill with no camo around him whatsoever. Why would you do this? Yeah, that was pretty inevitable, mate. You get spotted and the 2 enemy artillery left take you out. That's situational awareness right there. You should have backed up. So we're not looking good right now. The enemy's got more tanks than we have. And they're working their way around. It's not looking good. But we have this guy, the KV-1. He's moving in with the T-34. He's going in for a cap, which is interesting. Look at the map. 3 enemy tanks on the right. They're not going to be SPGs, which means the 2 SPGs are probably over to the left here as you look at it. In other words, when these guys get on top of this flag, they're going to have 2 SPGs shelling them as soon as they get spotted. But what's going to spot them? Most enemy tanks are on the other side of the river. So it's looking good. They're halfway through the cap. It's building up. This could be game over. This KV-1's defending our flag, which is good. We've got 2 enemies still spotted. He needs to think about the guy behind him there. He hasn't many hit points, so he's gone anyway. Meanwhile, back on the flag, they've both been spotted. The best thing they can do now is move. They've got to move. The artillery's going to come raining in. They've been spotted by the tank on the hill. Why is this KV-1 sat still? Only him knows. Meanwhile, the KV-1 defending our flag has got a problem. Not anymore. He's taking care of it. That's good. He's doing a good job of holding our flag. However, he's got 2 tanks moving in on his position. What should he do at this point? Which tank should he go for? You see our friendly is firing on that KV-1. The KV-1 is his biggest threat right now. Why is he not firing with his friendly? Him and the friendly guy with him should be shelling the crap out of that KV-1, taking it out. This other guy behind the building to the right here, he's no problem. You can't even get a shot on him. But the KV-1 on the flag needs to be hit hard. And the friendly's dead now. So I think he made a tactical error there. I would have gone for that KV-1. If he'd have noticed the friendly was hitting him, he should have done the same thing. Now he's got the other guy coming behind him. But this is okay. He should just aim and wait and boom. But somehow, for some reason, he didn't hit. I can't understand why he didn't hit then. Enemies are dead. Game is over. And we won. Some tactical errors, I thought. But on the whole, I thought that was a very interesting ending and I'm glad we won it. That's the SPG in action. The Sturmpanzer II. If you've never played an SPG, give it a whirl. It's really interesting, really different kind of game, but it does rely on some friendlies sticking back and defending you. So, I repair my tank, and I'm good for another game. That's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed that little overview of the Sturmpanzer II and SPGs in general. Leave me your comments. Don't forget to click like. Take care, guys. See you soon.